Hey, comic lovers, welcome back to the show. EMoney and the old man with you again. All right, so today we are talking about some stuff that happened this past weekend, both to me personally and some stuff from the headlines. Also, we have our comic reviews and previews, and then later we're going to give you a little preview, another preview about what to expect at our pop-up comic book shop this spring. All right, you guys better subscribe or I'll slap you like you're Chris Rock. This is Back Issues. Alright, comic lovers, so before we get started today, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, give us a thumbs up, and if you like, leave us a comment. Tell us what you think about some of these headlines or comic reviews, or tell us you're going to be at our pop-up comic book shop this spring. Alright, so first up, before we get to the juicy stuff, I took a little trip down to Lexington this last Saturday, and I went to the Lexington Comic and Toy Show. Had a lot of fun. Yeah, I met some celebrities. I saw a lot of great cosplay. I met Mr. Ron Perlman of Hellboy and Blade fame, and also a lot of other stuff.
Pacific Rim.
Yep, Pacific Rim. He has, jumping the gun a little bit, talking about the Oscars. He had 2 films in the Best Picture category this past Sunday. Nightmare Alley and Don't Look Up, both of which he starred in. But being in Lexington, obviously he was not invited to the show, so a little bit of a shame. But anyways, I met him, and I met Mr. William Daniels, who you may know as Mr. Feeney. And it was really great to meet him, my childhood hero. And also, I met Mr. Giancarlo Esposito. I may be mispronouncing his first name. So, I had a really great conversation with him. He was probably the coolest guy there that I met.
Huh.
So I met him, and he's signing a picture of Moff Gideon from The Mandalorian. And I told Mr. Esposito that he was a perfect contradiction of a villain. And he's like, "Oh, really? What do you mean by that?" And I said, "Well, when I'm watching you play the villain on these shows, it's like I'm yelling at the good guys, like, 'Hey, kill the son of a bitch already!' But, also at the same time, I don't really want him to leave. So it's like, I don't know how to feel." And he says like, "Oh, thanks for that, man." And then I say, "Well, you're coming back for season 3 though, right?" And he says, "Well, where did you hear that?" And I said, "Well, I saw a website that told me that you and Carl Weathers were going to be back for season 3. And he says, "Do you believe everything you read on the internet?" And I say, "No, that's why I'm asking you." And he laughs and he's like, "Oh, he's trying to bait me. Like, are you saying I'm a sucker?" And I'm like, no, of course not." And he's like, "Okay, but you keep watching, all right?" Well, I didn't say this to Mr. Esposito, but I thought, well, you keep making the best damn Star Wars since the original trilogy, I'll keep watching. All right, so, a lot of fun at Lexington Comic and Toy Show. Looking forward to what they come up with next year. All right, now on to the juicy stuff, what you guys are probably been talking about for the last, this thing airs on Wednesday, so for the last 4 days, you guys have been talking about 3 days. So if you tuned in to watch the Oscars, the old man and I, we tuned in to watch the Oscars. We had our ballots filled out, ready to go.
It's always a heated contest between who's going to predict the most winners.
Yeah. FYI, side note, old man by 1. We differed on 3 categories. Everything else we agreed on. So it ended with, he won the first one we differed on. I won the second one. So it all came down to who was going to win Best Actress. And I had Penelope Cruz. The old man had Jessica Chastain. So obviously,
thank you, Miss Chastain.
Yeah. So old man ended up winning. All right, but that's neither here nor there, because if you read the headlines from the Oscars last Sunday, literally nothing else happened.
Not a thing.
Yeah. Like, if you ask, people about the musical performance, about who won, nobody remembers, because it all came down to that one incident with Will Smith and Chris Rock. So, you guys know what happened. I mean, everybody knows by now. So, Chris Rock tells a bad joke about Will Smith's wife. There was a, momentary laugh, and then all of a sudden, Will Smith walks up to him, and Chris Rock is like, shit. He looked nervous when he started walking up to him.
Well, the man's a head taller than he is.
Yeah, and Will Smith just, without saying a word, he's come up, slaps him straight across the face, and then he goes back to his seat, and everybody's kind of like in a state of shock. I would have loved to have seen more like reactions from the crowd about what had just happened, but they actually muted the sound in the live broadcast, or at least while we were watching.
Well, it's a good thing because Will dropped a big old fat F-bomb.
Yeah, and he yells at Chris Rock, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth. So
he didn't say effing.
Yeah, he didn't say effing. So Chris Rock, credit to him and his composure. He said something like, "This is the greatest moment in the history of television," and then he carries on with his presentation. So the fallout from that, and at the time of this recording, we're going by what's happened since now. I mean, things may have developed since we posted this. All right, so later on in the night, Will Smith wins the award for Best Actor for King Richard.
Later on, it was like just a few minutes later.
Yeah. So he goes up there and he gives a speech and he apologizes to everybody except Chris Rock.
The Academy, the viewers, the people in attendance.
And then he kind of gives this lame excuse about how Richard was a man who protected his family.
Richard was the gentleman he portrayed in King Richard.
Right. So now, one post I read saying that Chris has declined to press charges.
He could.
Yeah.
That's assault.
Another post said that Chris Rock and Will Smith have made up since then. I don't know if that's true or not.
It doesn't really matter, to be honest.
During the commercial break, you see footage of Denzel and Tyler Perry give their support to Will after the incident. I don't know what happened to Chris Rock after that because you don't see him again, and maybe he was escorted out, which I think is...
He's not the one who should have been escorted out.
No. So now, people are talking about what comes next. Should there be any repercussions for Will over what happened? A lot of people are saying that he should be maybe get a lifetime ban from the Oscars. Other people are saying that they should have his Oscar taken away for the incident.
Well, here's the deal. Insult comics have been around, Don Rickles. Bob Hope, who hosted the Oscars for many years, is one of the greatest insult comics of all time. And granted, the Chris Rock joke, turns out it could have been in poor taste.
Because turns out Jada Pinkett Smith has an autoimmune disease that is what caused her hair to fall out. He made the joke was that she was going to be in G.I. Jane 2.
Which in the original G.I. Jane, short hair. But
Right.
anyway, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, I thought that maybe her hair was short for a role. I didn't know.
Too,
yeah,
but it doesn't matter.
Right, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if the joke was in poor taste or not. The answer to someone making a tasteless joke about your wife is not to go up on stage in front of not the nation, the entire world, and bitch slap somebody. That's not the answer. That's not how you settle that kind of stuff.
Right.
And if insult comics are going to be assaulted, there won't be any more insult comics. Now, I, for one, sometimes enjoy insult comics. Don Rickles, hilarious man. He couldn't go 30 seconds without insulting somebody.
Yeah.
But since when is it okay to go slap somebody? I mean, it's not. Does that mean the next time I'm at a comedy club, some guy makes fun of my beard, that I get to go up and slap him?
I mean, I've been to the Caravan here in Louisville a couple times, and comedians have been known to make fun of me. One time when I was performing earlier in the evening, another comedian made fun of the fact that I was a white guy named EMoney, and I rolled with it.
Right. You didn't get pissed off, but it's just a matter of what is right and what is wrong. And if you support Will Smith, support him by telling him to go get rage counseling, because that's bullcrap. if you don't support Will Smith, well, there's no reason that you should.
And also, you made a point earlier about if it hadn't been Chris Rock who had made the joke.
Yeah, would it have been The Rock or Jason Momoa who was in attendance?
Mm-hmm.
If it was Jason and Will went up and slapped him, they'd probably still be rolling around on the stage.
They would have cut to black and, been rolling around on the floor.
I'm going to guess that Will isn't stupid. He probably wouldn't have done it.
And also, take it in another direction, what if Amy Schumer had made that joke?
Then what do you, well, I guess Jada would have gone up there and slapped her.
Possibly. It's just the fact that, Chris Rock is a smaller guy, he thought that it was okay to let his rage get the better of him and come up and slap him.
If that's true, it's sad.
Yeah.
And I hope it's not the case, because that would just make him a coward.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like to think that of Will Smith.
Mm-mm. So, what do you guys think should happen? Should there be repercussions for Will Smith after what happened? Let us know about it in the comment section. All right. So, that's going to do it for the weekend recap. And let's head over to our comic book reviews. All right, so if you've never seen us do this before, we grade these comics on a 5 shield rating system. We give them each 2 scores, one for writing and story and the other one for artwork. And then we combine the 4 scores together and give it an average overall score. All right, so first we have our mentions this week because, we don't call them honorable mentions because sometimes we have something negative to say about them.
We haven't said anything really terribly negative in a while.
Right. Well, this first one is kind of a mixed bag. I have mixed feelings about it. So we have
all new Firefly number 2 from Boom Studios.
All right. So if you watched our review from the first issue, you know that this takes place a little bit after the events of Serenity, and things have changed on the Serenity, the ship. Kaylee has become the captain. Malcolm is still around, but Kaylee's captain now.
They don't explain that.
Yeah, for some reason. And also, we've had a new crew member since, Wash dying. Yeah. A guy by the name of Sebastian. Don't know much about him.
We know he's got a really cool pencil-thin mustache.
Mm-hmm. So, the reason I have mixed feelings about this is because the story is pretty good. The story reads like an episode of the show. Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
You're making me really sad here.
Yeah. All right, so they come to this holy place where a lot of the relics from the Earth that was have been preserved here. And they have been harassed by the taxman, a.k.a., gang, coming for protection money and all that. And they hired the crew of the Serenity to help them out. Well, the reason that I have mixed feelings is because, like I said, the story's really good, but the artwork, not so much. Because you remember a few months ago, we read a mini-series of The Orville, and the artwork in that comic was so great because the likeness of the characters matched perfectly to the characters on the show. You could tell easily who everybody was because the artist was so good at getting each actor's likeness. This one, not so much, because without their outfits, I can't really tell who's who. Because their faces, I do not see the likeness of the actors.
You can't tell Jane, who's a guy, in case you don't know anything about the show, you can't tell Jane from Malcolm.
They wear outfits that are, pretty much the same throughout the show as they do here. So you can tell by the outfits they're wearing who everybody is. But just looking at their face, no, you probably couldn't tell. So that's why this is probably not making it into our top 4. Or it is not making it into our top 4. All right, so like I said, good story, not so great artwork. All new Firefly number 2 comes in with 3.5 shields.
After we rounded it up.
All right, so next up in our mentions, we have the conclusion to a story that we've been talking about for a while now.
I hope it's a conclusion because I'm tired. At any rate, this is Detective Comics number 1058.
All right. So, if you've been, watching or, reading the comic, Batman has returned to Gotham, and he is wrapping up the incident at Arkham Tower with the hostage situation, and, the Bat family is taking care of everything. In one in one scene, the Penguin Gang have tracked down Psycho Pirate, the guy who's largely responsible for what happened at the tower. They want to tie up their loose end, and they track him to a hotel. Well, it turns out the person they were tracking wasn't Psycho Pirate; it was Batman, and he made use of his Master of Disguise skills, which they don't do a whole lot in the comic books.
It's been quite a while since he's done any kind of disguise trick.
I mean, Batman, he can, blend in and be just about anybody. In one comic book, he was the Penguin. He disguised himself as the Penguin. How the hell does he do that?
Well, it used to be he had this disguise that was standard. He was just some barfly that would go around to the different bars, and people knew him as this persona. They didn't know he was Batman. They just thought he was Pete. I don't remember what his name was.
Another story I read, this has been an ongoing thing that the whole Bat family has been a part of, where they have at different times all played a henchman for hire around Gotham. And he's like the worst henchman in the history of Gotham. And he gets hired by these different criminals, and he obviously,
messes him up.
Yeah, obviously being a member of the Bat family, they feed information to the Bat family, and they thwart the villain's plan. So that's a fun thing from that story. But anyways, they don't use that as much as I'd like them to. Also, there's a backup story in this issue that takes place during No Man's Land, one of my all-time favorite Batman stories.
I think the backup story was better than the lead story.
Yeah.
That's just me.
And, great artwork on both stories as well. So, great issue here. Detective Comics number 1058 our mention for this week, coming in at 3.5.
3.5 without rounding.
All right, 3.5 shields out of 5. All right, so that is our mentions for this week. Now on to our top 4.
All right, so is this going to surprise them at all?
There was a tie.
Yeah, there was a 4-way tie for number 1. So, we have done just about everything I could think of. We're having a hard time coming up with ways to break the tie without repeating ourselves. But EMoney suggested we thumb wrestle.
Well, I suggested a slap off in honor of last weekend, but he said no.
No. Can you see that big old meaty hand hitting me in the face? No. So I agreed to thumb wrestle. Now there's a problem with that. Put your thumb up here. Look at that. It's a freaking sausage. At any rate, I lost. So if you don't like the order of these 4 books, it's on EMoney. Number 4, per EMoney, is Wolverine patch number 1.
All right. Now, I admit that when the initial patch stories were going on, I wasn't reading comic books, or I didn't read this one at least. So I had to do a little catch-up. So patch takes place when Logan has separated himself from the X-Men, and he has become co-owner. First of all, he's calling himself Patch, and he's become co-owner.
Patch, so it's a good name.
Co-owner of the Princess Bar with a woman named Tiger, and he's kind of doing the whole Casablanca thing, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, apparently Logan can't completely separate himself from his past because Nick Fury tracks him down, and he enlists him to take care of a problem that he's having in a jungle somewhere. I think it's in South America.
I think it's Madripoor.
Okay. Well, Logan reluctantly agrees, and in one cool scene in this issue, he's flying over the jungle, and he needs to get down there fast, and no parachute, so Logan says, what the hell, and just jumps. It helps to have a healing factor,
And an animating skeleton.
Yep, can't break anything. You can dislocate things, apparently, but can't break anything. So the story goes from there, and, Logan, or Patch, I should say, makes a couple new playmates. So, great artwork in here. Wolverine, Patch, number 1, our number 4 pick for this week with 4 shields out of 5.
All right, next up. After the first one of these, I wasn't sure we were going to get the second one, but went ahead and did it.
Mm-hmm.
This one was better, and I think we'll probably continue to pick this up. And that is Maestro, World War M, number 2.
All right. So this takes place in a possible alternate future where most of the surface world has been wiped out, and Hulk, who has become the Maestro now, is walking around, and he's just kind of looking to pick a fight with anybody, pretty much. I don't know what his ultimate plan is, but right now he just seems fine with fighting and killing. So he goes down to the under the ocean, where the members of Atlantis and other cities are still thriving, and Maestro meets up with Namor, and he wants to fight him. He wants to fight his whole family, and he also wants to fight his old pal Abomination.
Oh, that's nothing new.
Yeah, and people are teaming up to take out the Maestro, obviously, because he ain't nothing but a problem. So there's a little bit of talk in this issue, but a lot of action, mostly action. So great stuff here, and still great artwork. Maestro World War M number 2, our number 3 pick for this week, with 4 shields out of 5.
All right, next up, a book that got a slow start with EMoney. I liked it out of the gate. For one thing, I like the writer, Kurt Busiek. He's done some really good stuff. But this is the number 3 issue, and it seems to be building momentum. It's picking up steam. And that is Aerosmith, Behind Enemy Lines, number 3.
All right. So our hero in this story has met up with the contact that he's supposed to meet up with in the POW camp. And they stage an escape plan. Now, initially, the guy makes it sound like the escape plan is for everybody in the camp to get out. Well, then later on, it looks like that the initial escape plan was just a distraction so that the two of them could slip out unnoticed. Now, he says he was just improvising with what was happening at the time, but I feel like that was pretty much the plan from the get-go.
I think he knew what was going to happen and decided that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Okay. So they get to a safe house about 50 miles away, and they find a young local woman who is one of the resistance fighters. And things kind of blossom from there. So, a lot of developments in this story, and we'll see what happens next up. Looking forward to the next issue. Aerosmith, Behind Enemy Lines, number 3, our number 2 pick for this week. 4 shields out of 5.
All right. And the book that, before we start reading it, I would have been surprised if you told me we would ever have it in our top 3, 4, whatever, much less number 1. And that's because we don't read the core book. The core book being Spawn. But Gunslinger Spawn, we both fell in love with it. It's a great story.
Yep.
Great artwork, great story. And this is number 6?
Yes. All right, so Gunslinger Spawn has made a deal with the Clown that Gunslinger will get close to OG Spawn, Spawn Prime, and he will get close to him in an effort to kill him. And in return, Clown will return Gunslinger to his original time, which is in the 1800s. Well, things don't go according to Clown's design, and Gunslinger makes a plan to outsmart him. Well, this issue reminds me a lot of Harry Dresden, because if you ever read the Dresden Files, you know that Dresden often comes up against people who are much stronger and powerful than him.
And if you haven't read the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher, you should.
So, in the Dresden Files, Dresden is a fairly powerful human wizard, but even the most powerful human wizard going up against a member of the Fae or a powerful vampire or things like that, still shouldn't have a prayer. Because Fae magic is so much more powerful than any human could be. But somehow, Harry always manages to come out on top. Same thing with Gunslinger, because they've mentioned many times that Gunslinger is the weakest of all the Hellspawn. So, being the weakest, he has to, use his brain and, come up with plans and outsmart his opponents, which is what happens here. So, and I mentioned, I say, great artwork in all of these, which if they're in the top 4, odds are
They have better than average artwork.
Right. And, this one, no exception. Todd McFarlane, he knows how to hire his artists. So,
because they always draw the way he does.
Mm-hmm. Gunslinger Spawn, our number 6 pick for this week. Great issue.
Our number 1 pick.
Did I?
You said number 6.
Oh, Gunslinger Spawn, number 6, our number 1 pick for this week, coming in at 4 shields out of 5. All right, so there's our picks for this week, or I guess last week. Pick them up at your local comic book shop. All right, so what is coming out this week?
Well, actually, a lot of good stuff coming out this week. There's 2 new Batman books, which we're kind of Batman crazy.
Mm-hmm.
There's Batman FaZe Clan. I don't know who the FaZe Clan are, number 1. And Batman Beyond the White Knight, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you've got DC versus Vampires, number 6. That is just keeps ramping up.
Mm-hmm.
A book that you've never read before, but there's been many titles that go by Astro City.
Oh, okay.
It's an image book, so you don't have your DC or Marvel characters in it. They have their own superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Astro City. That was then, and do you know of a guy called Alex Ross?
I have heard of him, yeah.
Then you should like this. But at any rate, I'm going to go back and read some of our old trades of Astro City. Really good stuff. 2 new X-Men books. We don't read the X-Men core books, and we're not huge X-Men fans.
I mean, not the current story, no, but there have been times I've liked X-Men. The Ultimate X-Men comics were great.
I mean, I love the old John Byrne run. But at any rate, the 2 new titles are Immortal X-Men, and I don't know anything about it. There's just that. And X-Men Unlimited Latitude, number 1. So we'll try those out. And if we get number 2, then something went right.
All right, so there's our preview for this week. Again, get them at your local comic book shop. All right, let's turn it over to what's up next. All right, next up, we have a bit of a surprise for you because look what came in the mail today. Our special CGC submissions. All right, so as we may have told you in a previous video, we have 5 comic books that we submitted to CGC, and we just got them back. Plenty of time for our pop-up comic book shop this spring. All of these, of course, are going to be available at the sale. All right. So you've heard us talk about the CGC before, so if you have any other means of doing a press, if your comic book needs a press, we highly recommend you use that rather than CGC, because doing a press at CGC will, delay
It'll cost you months.
Yeah, it'll delay you considerably. We got these back in a little over a month, maybe?
A month or 2.
Yeah, I mean, not that long. The last time we sent a comic book, one comic book with a press on it, I think it was
9 months.
9 months. So yeah, if you have another way of getting a press done on your comic book, then do that. No, don't quite have it yet. There we go. All right.
Give me the box, I'll get it out the way.
All right. Now these aren't going to be as special as the ones we do at Comic Book World.
No.
But still pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a couple of good ones in there.
All right. All right, let's see. All right, so I guess it's going to be like this. All right. So first up, we have Darth Vader number 3.
Now, this is the one that the little sticker inside the digital thing had been removed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious as to, well, it's a blue label. That's good.
Yep.
So what else does it say?
Oh, it comes in at a 9.8.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So this is the first appearance of Dr. Aphra, and it says 000. I don't know what that means. So yeah. So nice start there for Star Wars Darth Vader #3.
Very nice.
All right.
Good start. Good start.
So next up we have Young Avengers #1. Yeah. This
is the biggie.
This is first appearance of a couple characters here, and it comes in at a 9.2. This is first appearance of Young Avengers, Patriot, Iron Lad, Asgardian, and Hulkling, and Kate Bishop. Is it first appearance of Kate Bishop? I thought she first appeared somewhere else. All right, so 9.2.
This is the one that we really wanted to be a 9.8. Huge money difference between a 9.8 and a 9.2 on this one.
And, I mean, 9.6, really. All right, next up, we have Hawkeye #1. This is Hawkeye with Kate Bishop in it, so we have 2 Kate Bishop comics. This one comes in at a 9.0. So no special details here, just, Hawkeye #1.
Yep. I'm not really ecstatic about these grades, but all right, what else we got?
All right, next up, we have Amazing Spider-Man #4. This is a first appearance of Silk issue. All right, and this one comes in at 9.2. You remember well, I don't know if you guys remember. You remember we had one of these at the beginning of last season, and that one was, what was it, a 9.6?
I thought it was a 9.8, but whatever.
Okay. So Cindy Moon becomes Silk, and also it's a Black Cat cameo. So, pretty key modern issue there. All right, we got one more.
I don't even remember what was left.
Batman #89. So, first appearance of Punchline and a cameo. Okay, I'm a little surprised because I thought Punchline made her. Oh, we're talking. Okay, Punchline. Okay, I was thinking Quiz.
Oh, yeah, big difference.
Yeah. Okay. First appearance of Punchline in a cameo, and this comes in at 9.2.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't get real excited about brand new books that are coming in at 9.0 and 9.2s.
Yeah, first appearance of cameo. First appearance of Punchline in cameo, and it says face not revealed. So, I don't know what the page looks like, but that's what it says there. All right. So, I know you're a little disappointed, but everything,
they're on the 9s.
Yeah, 9 and above. So, not too bad. And we have our 9.8 Darth Vader over here. All right, so all of these are going to be priced eventually and put into the pop-up comic book shop inventory. So they'll all be available at our first sale. All right, speaking of which, let's take a look at other stuff that will be available at our sale. All right, so we've been giving you guys some previews of what you can expect from our pop-up comic book shop that is set to happen this spring. So we've told you before that the absolute latest will be the first Saturday in May.
And I got this sinking feeling that it's going to be cold.
Possibly sometime next month, depending on the weather. We have 2 times that we're committed to. We've made up signs for the times. It's either going to be 10 to 2 or 8 to 1.
If it's 10 to 2, it's because it's cold.
Right. So obviously the first few sales, there's a good chance that it's going to be 10 to 2 because the weather's still going to be, kind of iffy. But, stay tuned for updates on that.
Starting in May, we will be there every Saturday. We rarely skip a Saturday until we shut down sometime in October.
Right.
Now, if we get a good weekend in April, we might not be consistent at that point. But starting in May, no skippies.
Right. All right, so want to give you guys a little preview of what you can expect. So
the old sneak peek.
Yeah, so we've been accumulating all kinds of comic books over the fall and winter months for you guys for our inventory. We're gonna have thousands of comic books available if you've ever been to one of our sales. They're gonna be starting at $1, and they're gonna work their way up into the the hundreds. And we have a lot of great key issues for you available, and we're gonna give you guys just a little taste of what you can expect here. All right, so first up we have some second appearance issues. We have right here X-Men number 13, second appearance of Juggernaut. That's gonna be available at the sale. And then we have Amazing Spider-Man 102, second appearance and origin of Morbius, also available at our sale. And then I have a first appearance right here, Avengers number 43, first appearance of Red Guardian. So
remember Black Widow?
Mm-hmm. So a lot of cool Silver Age key issues here, and like I said, it's just a little taste. All right, so if you're not a comic book collector, which, why are you watching the show, and you're more into toys, we're going to have lots of stuff available for you. Over the last few months, we have accumulated a toy collection, and it's huge.
We're still accumulating.
Yeah, we're not going to have enough room to display everything. It's going to be at least a little bit different every week that you come.
If not complete, clean slate, all that stuff gets put up and a whole new inventory comes out.
I mean, I think we have the option to do at least 3 different sales without using the same toys, at least. And, we actually had to buy another table in order to have more room to display things. So, like I said, tons of new stuff. Everything that you saw at sales last year, it was the same old stuff every week pretty much. All that stuff, might not even make it onto the table.
It might not be on the tables for a few weeks.
All right, so just giving you a little taste right here. Here's one that I was tempted. I told you guys last week, the Eric Draven Crow figure. I was tempted to keep it for myself. Another one right here. I was tempted to keep it. This is from Marvel Legends Masterworks. This is a Spider-Man versus Green Goblin figurine.
And it just looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scene right out of the comic books come to life right there. And it makes a great display for your desk or your wall or shelf, whatever. Pretty cool. Next up, we have, I told you guys we're going to have all kinds of horror stuff. Stuff from 80s slasher movies. I showed you guys the talking Freddy doll. I showed you the Eric Draven Crow figure. Here's another one, also in the aquarium display case.
Yeah, we talked about that style of case last week. It's just such a great display looking piece.
Mm-hmm. So this is Freddy and his old pal Jason right here. Great action, well, not an action scene, but great poses right there. So, we're going to have that available. So, if you're into horror, we have that for you and tons of other stuff as well. This one I picked out because I want to show you what great deals you guys are going to be getting at the sale. So, we're going to have all kinds of Marvel Legends stuff available. We have like several boxes full of just Marvel Legends. If you're not really a collector and you just want to get something to bust open and play with, or something for your kids, we have several Marvel Legends figures that have already been peeled open. The person that we bought it from, bought the collection from, a lot of the Marvel Legends, he sliced open the blister and he pulled the comic book out. Not all of them, but some of them. So
when you compare it to the mass of the collection, it's a low percentage, but there are a few.
Yeah. So, if you just want to bust them open and play with them, those, we have for you. They have obviously been reduced and usually fall in the $10 to $20 range. So this one, I want to show you what kind of deals you're going to be getting from us. This is the Marvel Legends House of M set. And we've got House of M Iron Man, House of M Hulk, and then you have the Inhuman Torch and the It figures. So I saw this for sale at the Lexington Toy Show last weekend. The booth that was selling it for $165. At our sale, you're going to get it for $125. So, like I said, you're going to get some great deals from us at our shop. All right. So, stay tuned for updates about when we're going to open up the shop. Like I said, maybe in April, but first Saturday in May at the absolute latest. And if you want to know about deals, you can, we have our email address right here, emoneytheoldman@gmail.com. If you have a wish list or stuff that you're looking for, let us know about it, and we'll let you know if we have it available.
We've done pretty good on helping people fill some of their want list.
Mm-hmm. And even if we don't have it, we can keep a lookout for it. All right, so stay tuned for all that. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a comment, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Excelsior.
True believers, what about Moon Knight?